This is not about just getting roses and staying. This just feels really schemy and slimy.
Today, always be Cam means always be crying. Tempers flare as the Kardashians get a little too close for comfort.
It's like a pack of wolves. You really are like a bunch of coyotes. Howling.
And summer housemate Hannah Berner is here to break down her beef with Jordan.
I just want you to be a true friend to me, and you haven't been that at all.
This is your reality check.
The tea started spilling and then I lost control.
Welcome, everybody. Hope you all had a fantastic long weekend. Very excited to be back. I am Lyndsey Rodrigues, and we're here to talk about all of the best moments from reality TV. Joining me today is the very funny Hannah Berner from Bravo's Summer House, and Bachelor in Paradise alum Derek Peth, who's also very funny, and the co-host of the Betchelor podcast. Welcome, you two.
Thanks for having
us. Of course. I'm thrilled
here.
to have such esteemed guests joining me because right now we're going to jump right into our top 5. There is a lot of stuff to unpack. So at number 5, it's Kris Jenner's partner Corey. He started to open up ever so slightly after a series of events, which started with a 6 a.m. text message from Kanye questioning why he's so secretive. So guys, do you think the Kardashians were right in confronting Corey?
I think that until this point, I just thought he was a random guy following them around. So I think it was important for the story.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
It's good to know they don't have a stalker.
I'm glad that we cleared that up for you.
Yeah, but he was like a very kind stalker, sweet and affectionate stalker.
Yeah, and like particularly good to Kris. So anyway, we'll get more into that a little bit later in the show. At number 4, it's the emotional time bomb that was Kyle last night. So he was interjecting in the housemate's business, and then he had a few too many drinks, and then cue the waterworks. So Kyle was caught boo-hooing all over town and questioning if he's ruined his chances at proposing to Amanda. So Hannah, we will chat about this later in the show, but I have to ask, what was his hangover like the next day? Because I've never seen someone drink so much, and I'm from Australia.
Honestly, all the tears that he cried was the worst possible thing he could have done for his hangover because he was extremely dehydrated.
There you go.
So don't cry.
More on that to come. Well, at number 3, it's Tyler G. Hannah shared on The Bachelorette that, without giving any details, that Tyler G left the competition, and it turns out he was given the boot after many accusations surfaced claiming that he's an extreme misogynist, because the world could do with more of those, and he displays some questionable behaviors in his past relationships. So Derek, as our Bachelorette expert, why do you think his exit wasn't captured on camera?
I think it's more than that, personally. I mean, that sounds bad, and that's a bad thing, but there's no reason they just pull you from the show secretively like that if there's not even more than that behind it.
Oh, so you think that we're about to uncover some more nasty secrets?
Yeah, I think eventually we'll hear more.
Okay, well, we'll have to stay tuned for that. Right now, it's number 2. Pooh crashes Kylie's Trinidad getaway in an explosive way. Yes, that wording is deliberate. She came bearing dirty sheets and diapers and threw them at Kylie in front of the crew. I have to ask, do you think she brought them in a separate bag? And if so, carry on or checked?
I just love using the metaphor and like an item when you're fighting. Enough with like the hand clapping. Show an actual item of how upset you are.
Right, it's
The
commitment.
receipts were brought.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh my goodness. I mean, the most convoluted act of revenge I think I've ever seen, but I kind of dig it. Well, at number 1, Always Be Cam is now Always Be Gone. Thank goodness. This Bachelorette hopeful was certainly a divisive cast member this season with his constant butting in and that insufferable catchphrase. So let's not waste any time and let's just get straight into the Bachelorette and the suitor that was Cam. May he rest. He's not dead, but he's certainly dead in the water from the competition. I mean, he started off the episode writing what Mike called Dear John letters, and then before the tailgate party, he announced this to the guys.
This has been something that has been a downfall in my past 2 serious relationships. Right when it gets started, I need to just pull her aside for a second, and, you know, there's a strong likelihood that it may be too much for her to handle, and she sends me home even before the rose ceremony.
Well, it turns out that what he told Hannah did get him sent home, but it wasn't because it was too much for her to handle. It was regarding his possible intentions.
Cam sat us all down and told us that he was going to tell you a sad story to kind of get the pity rose.
I really did appreciate Cam being vulnerable, but I feel like what Cam did today was a little manipulative.
Guys, was Cam being manipulative or was he being genuine and trying to really like forge a connection?
I feel like the producer was probably licking his lips the whole time with Cam. Like, he's like, yeah, you should totally just interrupt everyone and tell her insane stories that aren't true. It'll definitely work. And Cam was like, A, B, C, D, F, G. So I was entertained.
Okay.
I had a good long rant on our podcast about him last week. I think he came in with a plan. Everything he said seemed like he had an outline, and even to the point of writing letters to these guys, which, by the way, one of the funniest lines I've ever seen on the show is just her being like, "You wrote letters to the guys?" I wrote letters. He's like mad about it. Everything he said was BS, and those guys' faces said it all.
And also, like, does he have a leg or not? Like,
Okay, so we
it.
did some research. The man 100% has a fully intact leg, thank goodness. But I don't think that he should say those lies when you could just look at someone's leg and prove that it's
Like,
wrong.
just tap on it.
I want to know what was going through Hannah's head during that time.
I mean, yeah.
Also, he gave away his dog.
That was what I was most
that's
He
a
gave away
sign.
his dog, but without creating a puppygate scandal like on Beverly Hills Housewives. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But do you think Mike was right for telling on Cam, or was he trying to be manipulative?
No, I love Mike. From day one, he seems like a really stand-up guy. Obviously, like, just exudes truthfulness. So to me, I think he felt like it was something that she needed to know, so that she could ditch the fat.
I also like how Hannah handles the situations. She has a great name, first of all.
I mean, look, right off the bat.
I wondered if this would come
Girls
up.
with palindrome names really know what they're doing, but she really knows what she wants, and I think she already sensed it, and Mike just kind of confirmed what she thought.
Right. Well, you know, it is possible as well that Cam was making a desperate attempt to grab Hannah's attention because he saw that Mike scored a group date rose after opening up about his past relationship.
We lost our child in the second trimester. And today it reminded me of that. It was my fault because I wasn't there for her at the time.
Okay, so Derek, I know you really like Mike, but do we think he is a top contender and could end up being Hannah's husband?
I don't think he will be the husband. I do think he will be the next Bachelor.
Oh, interesting.
I would love
prediction.
for Mike to be the next Bachelor, yes.
Yeah, we need more of that. Yes, he's a cutie. He gets my vote. Hannah?
I think that Mike is great. I just realized I'm still trying to get the names together because I can barely remember.
Well, it's only like 4 episodes
It's early
in, so like
in,
you
yeah.
have time.
and like my brain can only handle when I first meet someone forgetting their name initially. So
Lindsay.
Lindsay. I just memorized the top 4.
Okay, well, why don't we move on to Luke P, because he seems like that crazy ex that you just can't get rid of, and now even Hannah has started to notice his overeager tendencies.
I'm glad that we like automatically had a deep connection, but I've been struggling a little bit with it because I just feel like you already think it's like promised to you, and that bothers me a lot.
Okay, so Hannah's struggling right now, but also, I don't know, I think Luke P might be struggling too, because I don't know that he understood what he was doing wrong. Take a look.
Hannah told me that she's irritated with how I'm acting. I'm coming off arrogant and just too confident. And I don't feel like I've been acting that way. I don't see her seeing me like that. It doesn't make sense to me.
So despite all of that, he still got a rose. So why do you think Hannah is keeping him around? Is it just that crazy sort of physical attraction that she's feeling to him?
He's definitely one of the most attractive guys that have ever been on this show.
down.
He makes me feel, yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
find him attractive at all.
Purely like, look, he's a caveman, and he started the show like, I'm gonna grab her and take her back to my cave, and he thought that it ended there, but there's a TV show that's being filmed here,
Yeah.
and also that's not how the real world works either, right? It doesn't end right there.
Right.
Yeah,
Good
he
point.
started with this fantasy storyline of I'm falling in love with you, but he's the kind of guy on a dating app who's like, hey, you're really beautiful, do you want to go out? And you don't respond immediately, and then he tells you you're ugly. Like, he's not the right one for her.
Right.
He's a douchebag.
Ooh, strong words.
Oh my gosh,
strong
are we
words.
allowed to say that?
Yeah, of course you are. I called someone a douchebag on the show the other week.
You're wild, Lindsay.
Thanks, Hannah. All right, well, before we wrap up this Bachelorette discussion, I want you guys to each make a case as to who you think Hannah will end up choosing ultimately.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go with Jed.
Okay.
Jed and never would have expected it, which, by the way, side note, nobody's talking about this, but Jed is a male dancer in Nashville on top of being a
Yes,
musician.
we had a guest on the show the other week. He was like a Chippendale at her sister's Bachelorette party.
Exactly. So, right?
said he's real
And
hot.
nobody's saying anything.
No one's saying
But he
anything.
seems super genuine, like a sweet guy. They have a real connection. That's what will take him to the end.
Okay.
He's calm through the weird stuff, and in episodes 6, 7, 8, if you start freaking out doing what Luke P is, it's the end.
Right. But do you think that someone with like good Southern sensibilities like Hannah would be okay being like, this is my husband, he used to get naked in front of strangers for money? Like,
That was a good accent.
That was.
But she's a modern gal and she speaks her mind.
okay.
I don't know who she's gonna choose because I haven't followed the guys' names close enough.
Okay.
However, I think that she's really listening to her intuition, and I think she's gonna make a decision at the end of the day. A good decision.
Okay, well, I mean, we'll have to see how it all plays out, and obviously we'll be following it very closely here on Reality Check. In the meantime, I have to say a big thank you to Derek Peth for being here today. Make sure you check out his podcast. It's called The Bachelor. So thank you, and come back again soon to talk all things Bachelorette. And Hannah is going to stick around. When we get back, though, from the break, we will be joined by blogger Lindsay Silberman as we catch up with those crazy Kardashians. See you on the other
If you
side.
talk about people's even though it sounds entertaining, that's not cool.
Welcome back, everybody. Now we've got Hannah in a Lindsay sandwich because joining us is lifestyle blogger Lindsay Silberman. Welcome. How's it feel, Hannah, to be between two Lindsays? Do you feel?
I'm honored.
Yeah, you're not feeling a bit ganged up on?
What's gonna happen?
I don't know. We'll have to find out.
You have to listen.
We'll have to find out. It is time to talk Kardashians right now. We're going to take a look at last night's episode because it came up that the family, they really don't know matriarch Kris's boyfriend that well. And it was a text from Kanye to Corey that brought it all to the surface.
We don't know anything about Corey like that.
I mean, it is weird. He's been around for 4 years.
Yeah.
Kanye's delivery wasn't great, but the essence of what he said is true. Corey does tend to be pretty secretive, so me and all of the kids, we've been more on guard with Corey.
So ladies, how strange do you think it is that the girls don't seem to know Corey that well when A, he's been with Kris for 4 years, and B, this is a family that does everything together?
You know, I have to say, it is a little bit alarming, but at the same time, he may be a private person and he knows what you put out in the Kardashian universe is open for the world to criticize, so maybe that's why he's not into it.
Yeah, I would definitely want to keep it tight if I was in that world.
You know, over a decade ago, there was that famous quote, "Leave Britney alone." I say we leave Corey
Corey
alone.
yeah, leave
He's
Corey alone.
clearly making Kris happy, and maybe he doesn't want to expose his entire life on national TV, and I just want Kris to be happy.
I mean, she seems
But
very happy.
If we do find out that there's some like crazy dirt, I wouldn't be mad about it.
I would not be mad about it. He should definitely tell it
The
all.
Kardashians wouldn't even be mad about it because they would make for great
Oh, they'd be
TV.
thrilled.
Kris has probably been trying to pry something out of him, and it's taken 4 years. But she's a long game strategic manager, and that's
She has her eyes on the prize.
standard Kris Jenner
Yeah.
procedure.
But so on the flip side of what you guys are saying, do you also think that if you're going to be in someone's life and that person has 6 children, do you think that you have a bit of an obligation to open up to them just a tad?
If you hate children and you think kids are assholes, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. However, if you have kids, you should be with a guy who likes them.
Do you think kids are assholes?
I love children.
You like children?
I was an asshole when I was a kid.
I very much doubt that is true. Well, a really fun story from last night's episode was actually Kourtney's extended stay at Casa Kendall. So she moved in there after the fires, and then Kendall really just did not know how to kick her out. Have a look.
Coming home is usually my nice, peaceful headspace. But it's been a couple days since the evacuation has been lifted. Everyone's back in their homes except for Kourtney. She's just kind of hanging out at my house still.
All right, how do you kick a family member out of your house?
Nicely? I don't know.
How though? What is a nice way to say get the F out?
I think you don't tell them, but you report them to the authorities.
For what?
And you have to just be creative, and then they'll never be able to legally talk to you again.
Okay,
Also, I have to say, like, I was living for this whole Kourtney staying at the house and making a mess, and she's like eating Doritos, but usually she's like gluten-free and obsessed with health, and suddenly she comes to Kendall's house and just lets loose, and there's a mess everywhere.
Right.
I like this side of Kourtney.
You can do that when it's someone else's house. I was also obsessed with Kendall's kitchen because I'm looking at all that beautiful copper,
Me too,
those
and those
copper pots. I'm like,
pans.
girl, do you even cook? Let
I
me in
know.
there.
She's never used them.
It's also like such rich people problem. She's like, I have 5 bedrooms and Kourtney's staying in one of them, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah, where's my vegetable oil?
I don't feel bad for her for a second.
Who stole the
sorry.
vegetable oil? Oh, it was a chef.
It was a chef in the end.
God forbid.
Oh,
Cracked
not
the case.
the private chef.
Right now, we are going to take a break, but when we return, Hannah, Lindsay, and I are going to be talking all about last night's cry fest that was Summer House. Don't go anywhere.
Tough. That's what happens when you cheat.
Welcome back to the show. Lindsay Silberman and Hannah Berner are still in the house to talk about Summer House. All right, so last night, Hannah, we saw you confronting Jordan about the fact that he has not been that truthful over the summer. Let's see how that played out.
You said you almost took home a hooker. That was a lie. You opened your heart up to us and said you haven't been able to get it up. How many girls have you been with this last month that you have a problem getting it up?
I haven't, period.
So then why would you go around telling people that you have a problem getting it up in this last month when you haven't even tried to have sex?
So Hannah, what brought all of this to a head? I mean, had it just been building up?
I think what people don't realize is Jordan and I were working together 5 days a week and then together all day on the weekend. And you know when you're with someone just too much, like him breathing in my direction was ticking me off.
Yeah.
And I snapped. And it was healthy. I think it was important for me to let him know how I was really feeling. And then afterwards, I love him. And he looked at me and he's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, you know how I feel, and let's work on it together.
I mean, at least you were honest about it. Lindsay, from a viewer's perspective, did you think that tough love was the way to go in this particular situation?
I felt like it was a really healthy fight, even though it was about a health issue, we should say. Can we call it,
amongst other things.
Yeah, can we call it Dickgate? Because that's like kind of what it was.
We can, and we will.
So yeah, anyway, I thought it was like, you know, you felt that the fact that you really were doing it because you cared about him, and that's respectable.
And I think friendship is based on trust.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was turning a little bit fake, and I was like, I might be on this TV show, but I want to know that you're going to be honest with me, and you haven't.
Yeah, and the thing is, I guess when people lie to you about sort of silly stuff, as you said, then you start to question other things, like, well, if that was a lie, then what else? And it's kind of like a domino effect. But pivoting from that to Kyle, he was super emotional on last night's episode. He was crying for most of the episode about the state of his and Amanda's relationship, and he even ended up shipwrecked on his own island, both literally and figuratively.
All she wants to do is f***ing scold me. It's like... I'm just really sick of it.
Yeah.
I want to marry her.
So Hannah, as we saw there, you went to Kyle's rescue. Do you think it was just all the alcohol that just made him snap?
I think alcohol brings out the truth, and I kind of like seeing men on TV showing real emotion. He was kind of a pretty crier. Do you agree?
I wouldn't say.
I was like, he was stunning.
I mean, yes, I think he looks like good considering the circumstances.
Right, and considering the fact that he'd been drinking from, what, 6 a.m.
Honestly,
or something?
yeah, at that point, I would be looking a lot more rough.
I don't know how you guys look so good, actually, after, like, these weekends of drinking, because I have, like, one glass of wine these days, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
I gained 10 pounds of alcohol weight by the end of the summer, but it was all fun weight. Like, I didn't regret the fun I had.
And you didn't remember gaining it, so
I didn't remember any moment of it being
It doesn't
gained.
count.
It doesn't count if you don't remember it. Well, even after you comforted him, Kyle broke down again at the club, and then it was Stacy's turn to dish out some tough love.
Tough That's what happens when you cheat. Maybe it's not the right time to propose. Then maybe wait.
Well, of course, we know that Kyle and Amanda are happily engaged, which is fantastic. So was this risky advice for Stacy to be giving out to a friend? Like, is it ever okay to be that person that's like, well, you probably shouldn't do that?
I don't think Stassi can help herself, and that's what makes Stassi an icon.
That's why we love her.
But also, Kyle had to know that she wasn't gonna put any soft touches on her response at all. She was gonna tell him exactly how she felt.
Also, what are the chances that he even remembers that conversation
No
at
chance.
all?
Until seeing that episode.
0%
0% chance.
Yeah, well, you know what? The Summer House season finale airs next Monday, June 3rd, and Paige DeSorbo will be back to break it all down with us, so I know that you guys won't want to miss that. We are going to take a very quick break. When we get back, we'll be taking a look back into reality history. Stay tuned. Welcome back. I'm still here with Hannah Berner from Summer House and lifestyle blogger Lindsay Silberman. So ladies, what we're going to do right now is start a new tradition, and we're going to have a reality check history lesson of sorts. So here is today's moment in reality history, brought to you by reality royalty Kim K. Enjoy.
Baby, give me a hug real quick.
In this 2011 episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, while the family vacations in Bora Bora, Kim's then boyfriend and soon-to-be second husband, Chris Humphries, throws her into the ocean where she promptly loses her $75,000 diamond earring.
Are you
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry. My diamond earring.
Kim's tearful tantrum is one of the greatest moments in reality history, and Courtney's response isn't bad either.
Kim, there's people that are dying.
I
There are
love that
people
so
that are
much.
dying, and you're upset about your earring. First of all, do you remember this moment?
I remember it like it was yesterday.
What were you wearing? Where were you?
I think I was in my bed in college. I don't know, but it was one of my favorite reality TV moments of all time.
Also, Chris.
I know.
Chris Humphries. Remember him?
TBT. I also love how Courtney is the typical sister and she's like, get it together, I don't care about you.
Yeah.
But it was very Fire Festival-esque to me.
Why was it Fire Festival?
Because you're laughing at rich people get
And
in
they're
trouble.
Oh, yes, I suppose.
But
I
they
see the,
found the diamonds.
They did?
Yes. Someone
they?
found the diamonds, and I swear it had to be all a plot and a storyline. I don't know. You know how
Also,
reality
when you
TV
hit the water and you have studs in the back, I think there's a conspiracy theory here you're starting. I don't think it was real.
I mean, I don't know. Okay, so it was Kylie who found the diamond apparently, but if you found a $75,000 diamond while snorkeling, would you hand it in?
To the Kardashians, no.
No.
They don't need it.
No.
They don't need it.
I
Yeah.
think she needs to go through some adversity in her life, and it was important to her growth long term.
Was that a foreshadowing? I feel like there's like a diamond drama that's just following.
I mean, look, I mean, it's just interesting to see how far she's come. I mean, and a different
The glow up.
husband and 4 children later. And I mean, now she's on the path to becoming an attorney and, you know, so it's interesting to see the progression.
Yeah, I think it was more of a message that you shouldn't be too rich or successful because if you can buy nice things, you will lose them.
And when do you think the Jordan stuff is going to start for this episode? Sorry, for this season? Because like right now, everything's sort of like smooth sailing, calm waters. When's it going to blow up?
I don't know, but I can't wait.
All we know is it's going to.
It is going to, that is for sure. All right, well, that is it for today. Lindsay and Hannah, thank you so much for being here. It's been a great show, and I hope that you'll tune in tomorrow because we will be talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Texarkanas, and so much more. I am Lyndsey Rodrigues, and I will check you tomorrow.